Are prices of eggs driving you crazy? They are getting so expensive. Well, today we're going to talk about 5 egg substitutes that you can use. We're going to try all of them in the same recipe to really compare and see what works. And I'm going to give you a price breakdown so you know what's really cheap, what works, and how you can keep baking without spending a fortune on eggs. I'm Kristen here at Joyfully Thriving, and I love baking, but a dozen eggs right now where I live are $5 a dozen. And I know for a lot of you, they're even higher than that. So I want to be able to keep baking for my family, but I don't want to spend that much on eggs every time. So let me show you what 5 different egg substitutes we're going to try today, see what really works. We're going to start by making our favorite family pumpkin muffins. We're going to use one recipe with eggs as normal, of course, as our test. Then we're going to use flaxseed as one of our substitutes. We'll talk more about all of these in a minute. We are going to use the aquafaba or the garbanzo bean juice. We're going to use an actual egg replacer here. We're going to use applesauce to replace, and then we're going to do a combination of vinegar and baking soda. So those are the 5 different things we're going to use. I'll tell you proportions, but let's get to baking and see how these pan out. All right, ready to get baking? Like I said, I'm going to make the same recipe. I'm going to do my test with regular eggs, and then I'm going to try all these different substitutes. And I'm going to have my kids help me compare because we love this recipe, and they'll be honest and tell me which ones taste the best. I will leave a link to the recipe I am using as well as links to all these substitutes. You can find all of them at your regular grocery store or on Amazon, but I will leave links to everything that I am mentioning in the description below. But let's get baking. We're going to start with one that I've been doing for quite a while already. We are going to use this flax seed, and this is ground flax seed. It is not whole flax seed, and it is so simple to use. You're going to use 1 tablespoon flax and 3 tablespoons water to substitute for 1 egg. And that's all you have to do. You just mix it up, and you're going to let it stir and sit in your bowl for a couple minutes to thicken slightly to turn into your egg base. I have been doing this one for quite a while, so I know how it's going to turn out, but I'm curious to compare it to the others. So that's your first and easiest substitute. Do note with flax, you should store it in the freezer when you're not using it just to make sure it doesn't go bad. All right, the thing you will notice about flaxseed is that you can see it a little bit in your batter. So if you were doing something dark like these pumpkin muffins, it doesn't matter, but I don't know that I would use it in pancakes. This is a very basic, easy pumpkin muffin recipe. We absolutely love it. You can do it as muffins or bread. Again, the link for the recipes are below, but it is flour, sugar, oil. I do a combination of oil and applesauce, baking soda, cinnamon, pumpkin, of course, and you can use canned pumpkin, or I do have some frozen puree I am using, as well as chocolate chips. And it would be eggs in this recipe, but we're trying them out. All right, I'm going to stir in chocolate chips, and we will get these muffins, this first batch, loaded up and baking in the oven. I am labeling all my parchment liners. I love parchment. They come out super easy with the letters, so I remember which is which. These are going to be the flax seed, and I'm going to go ahead and scoop them now. I always use a large cookie scoop for scooping my muffins. It just makes everything an even size. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop these, and we'll bake them in the oven at 350 for 18 minutes. Here's the first batch of muffins with flaxseed done. On to the next ones. Next batch, we're going to use the egg replacer. Now this is actually a plant-based egg replacer. I got it on clearance. There are a lot of different kinds, and you just need to read the directions on what yours says. This one has organic chia seeds and garbanzo beans, and you are using 3 tablespoons of water to 1 tablespoon egg replacer. I have heard great things about the Bob's Red Milk, but for this video, we are trying this one. You can tell it's a lot thicker than the flax seeds already, so let's go ahead and mix up the second batch of muffins. Initial thoughts on this batch is that you don't see any specks from the chia seeds or the garbanzo beans, and it does seem a little thicker than when I made my flaxseed batter. Jumping in here to say, I probably should have mentioned I am doing half batches right now of my pumpkin recipe because as much as we love pumpkin bread, this is a lot of muffins that I'm making. So a half batch makes around 15 muffins, which I figure a full batch makes right around 28, 30, depending on how you're scooping. I love using that large cookie scoop, like I said, because it just makes all my muffins look consistent, which will also help with testing. Third batch, we're going to use the liquid from a can of chickpeas or garbanzo beans called aquafaba. When I have started draining these, I just put them in a canning jar. And side note, did you know that mayo lids and peanut butter lids fit perfectly on your canning jars, the regular mouth? So I save it in my fridge. It takes 3 tablespoons of aquafaba to make 1 egg. So we're going to use that for batch 3 here. Initial thoughts on this batter is that it goes in very well, and I love this because if you're already buying chickpeas, then you're just saving it. You're not paying anything extra for a liquid that you already have and can use as an egg replacer. Into the oven we go. Next substitute is the one I'm most curious about, but they say, just like those old science experiments, 1 tablespoon of vinegar and 1 teaspoon of baking soda can be substituted per egg. So we're going to give this one a try and see how this turns out. It's fizzing away right there, so we're going to stir that up and add everything else in for another batch of muffins. Batter looks the same, but I did just taste a little bit, and you can taste a little bit of the baking soda. Since there already was baking soda in the muffins, I'm going to be curious how this one turns out when it's baked. But all for the sake of the experiment, here we go, trying this one too. Moving right along, the next substitute is applesauce. Did you know that you can substitute applesauce for eggs? I've been substituting it for oil for years. It is a 1-to-1 substitution for applesauce and oil. I'm using unsweetened applesauce here, and for each egg, it is 1/4 cup of applesauce equals 1 egg. Now, I already have some applesauce in these muffins, so we're going to see how it turns out with extra applesauce for the eggs. Let's see how these do. I just scooped the last tray of muffins. This is our control recipe here. We're using eggs just like normal, so we have something to compare it to. The kids are super excited to help me try and compare all these muffins. Here is what 3 batches of muffins look like when they are all done with the 6 different replacers. Before we try them, I thought I would show you exactly what the muffins look like, just so you have a little bit of comparison. Here's our regular pumpkin muffin recipe made with eggs. Again, I used the same scoop, same recipe. The only thing different is the egg. I do also have to say I love the non-stick parchment liners. I'll leave a link to the ones that I use. They are amazing and they peel off so perfectly. Here's the flax seed substitute right here that you can see. It definitely has a speckled look to it, and it almost feels a little denser as I was picking it up. Here's the substitute, the egg replacer substitute. And again, there's different egg replacers, so this won't necessarily be true of all of them, but this is what our egg replacer turned out like. The liquid, the garbanzo bean liquid, the aquafaba, looks great. Not as speckled on the top, but it just looks like a really nice muffin there. The vinegar and baking soda, you can tell it really baked and turned brown. In fact, the bottom almost burnt, which I don't like at all. So it'll be interesting to taste that. And then here's the applesauce that we tried. Definitely that is the flattest one that did not rise, but it still looks nice when looking at all the muffins. All right, the kids are super excited to help out, and we're going to taste them now and compare and see which one gets our vote for the best egg replacer substitute. I'm going to get really nerdy and show you the inside of 3 of these. That first one right there is the inside of an egg muffin. The second one is with the aquafaba. You can see it's a little bit taller and fluffier. And then we have the applesauce substitute muffin right there, and that is a little denser, but you can see inside all of them, they really are pretty similar for all the substitutes. All right, here are my 4 eager kids. Say hello, everyone.
Hi.
They are going to be our taste testers. So the plates are labeled. All right, guys, we're going to start with the first muffin, number 1. That's the original muffin with eggs. So take a little bite just so you remember what it tastes like. How's that one taste? Thumbs up, thumbs down. All right, thumbs up. Moving on to number 2. All right, taking a drink of water. All right, take a bite of number 2. How does 2 taste?
Good.
Lily says good.
Good. Tastes about the same, a little richer.
A little richer, Nathan says. Good.
I think the top part's a little more dry.
A little more dry, okay? But still good. Okay, now remember, you're going to pick your favorite of all of these. Let's try number 3.
Good. Tastes like eggs. Tastes about the same, but this one is drier.
Number 3 is drier? Okay. Yeah, there's no eggs in any of them. Huh.
Except for number 1.
All right, number 4. Let's go with number 4 there.
Good. Egg. This one's good. Not pink so much.
Number 4 is good?
Yeah, well, that's good.
We like that one. Yeah. Okay, thumbs up. All right, now before we go to number 5, what did you notice about number 5?
It's browner. It's darker and it's taller.
Okay, it's darker and it's taller. Go ahead and try a bite of number 5.
Tastes a little burnt. Yeah.
Not good? Is that a thumbs down on number 5?
Yeah.
All right, thumbs down on number 5. All right, number 6. Moving right along.
I like that one. Yeah, me too. That's really good. I love it.
I love it. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you confer and look at your muffins for a minute, and I want you to decide which one was your favorite. I'll come back for your final answer. All right. Go ahead.
I just said the 1 6.
6 1. All right. Caleb says number 6 1.
I decided that it's number 4.
4 1.
In my opinion, I also think it's 4.
4.
4.
4. All right. Do you guys want to know what 4 was?
Yeah. Yes.
6 was good too. 6 was applesauce that we used in there, and I'm going to show you what number 4 was.
What? That's weird.
It was not the beans, it was the liquid from there. It was the liquid in there. I have to agree. Number 4 was my favorite as well. Good job taste testing. Was there any that we would not try again?
5.
All right. Baking soda and vinegar is out based on all of our feedback. Don't make those, but try the other ones. All right, let's wrap up with my conclusion over here.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that taste test and the honest opinions of my children. I thought that was the best way to give you some honest feedback on what really worked. And I have to say, I agree completely with what my kids said. The aquafaba was my favorite. It really tasted just like an egg muffin, maybe even a little better. The texture was great. It looked great. We really enjoyed that one. And the applesauce worked too. Honestly, all of these substitutes worked really well, except for vinegar and baking soda. Don't do that one. It just was not a good substitute. I actually threw away the rest of those muffins. Like, that's how bad it tasted, and I never do that. So I would skip that one. But all the others worked really well, and I would highly recommend them. But aquafaba would be my top choice too. All right, now that we know what works, let's talk prices to see what really saves us money. Where I am, a dozen eggs are $5, so at Walmart I'm spending 41 cents an egg, or the cheapest place I can actually get them is Sam's, where it is 39 cents an egg for cage-free eggs. So that's where I go to right now. Of course, I am always watching for sales on eggs, and if I find one, you can be sure I will tell you on my Thursday grocery hauls. If you want to see what the good deals I am finding every week, be sure you subscribe and join me there, because I will let you know as soon as I see an egg sale for sure. Now let's talk about all these comparisons. We're not talking about vinegar and baking soda because that didn't work. The price was minimal because we all have vinegar and baking soda in our cupboards. I was hopeful it worked, but it just really did not work for us. These substitutes, I should also add, it really might vary based on the recipe you are doing. Some of these you might want to use more for muffins. You might try other things for pancakes or different baked goods. Whatever you are doing your cookies, you might play around with a couple of these, but no, they do all technically work. So I want to say that before we go any further. We'll start with flax eggs. I was actually able to find the best price on Amazon for an organic container of ground flax seed. It was actually 64 servings in like a spice container, again, under $4, which works out to 6 cents an egg. That's a great price for flaxseed, especially if you're just starting to use it and you want to have something in your freezer all the time ready to go. That could work really well, and that's a bargain to use as an egg replacement. Next up is applesauce. Applesauce we always have on our shelves because we eat it regularly with 4 little kids. I do use unsweetened applesauce, and if you are using a sweetened applesauce, while it would work, you technically should adjust the sugar in your recipe, so I would recommend for this purpose using unsweetened applesauce as well. A container of applesauce at our local Walmart runs us $3.12, which works out to 22 egg replacements in a jar because it's a 1/4 cup for each egg replacement, and that is 14 cents an egg. So again, it works great. I was very pleased with that substitute, and it was still a good price. You were saving money using applesauce. Next up is egg substitutes, and I found mine clearanced at Kroger. It was an organic, plant-based one that worked very well, and I was pleased with it. It was around 15 cents an egg. I found a comparison on Amazon. It was quite a bit more pricey. It was $10 for that container of chia seeds and garbanzo beans. That combination did work well if you are vegan and wanted to try something like that, but it was 55 cents an egg. So you really aren't saving money, but keep your eyes open and do that price comparison because if you find it, that one did work. Now the Bob's Red Mill egg replacer on Amazon was a much better deal. You can get a 2-pack of the egg replacer, and that worked out to 19 cents an egg, which is a great deal. Or if you really like it, you can get a 5-pack, which actually worked out to, I think, 170 eggs. You would be set for quite a while of egg replacer time, and that was only 12 cents an egg. So basically, that's a 1/4 of your egg price. If you bake a lot and you want to always have something that is shelf stable, that you could use it as an egg substitute, I would definitely recommend it. And yes, links are below as for all the things I mentioned. So if you want to stock up on egg replacer, that would be a great bargain and something to have on hand. And aquafaba, well, basically that was free, right? If you're already buying your can of chickpeas, which I eat them normally as a salad or just as a side. My kids don't really like them, which is why they were so surprised, if you notice from their reactions. But it was basically free. I think you get about 3 eggs from a can, maybe 4, depending. It is 3 tablespoons of aquafaba equals 1 egg. So you would just have to see and judge that based on the can. It would vary. We'll say, to play on the safe side, let's say 2 to 3, just because I want to err on the other side. But it's basically free. I did just discover after this experiment, thanks to Google, that you can make your own aquafaba by soaking dried chickpeas at home, which I've been meaning to try, and now that I know the aquafaba works, I'm definitely going to be doing it. Plus, you can freeze the aquafaba and have it in your freezer ready to go. So that would be very handy again because you're going to eat your chickpeas, so you're not paying anything really extra for this. I would take the aquafaba liquid and I would freeze it in 3 tablespoon containers and put it in the freezer, and that way when you need an egg, you can just pull out one frozen individual or as many as you need and thaw it and be ready to go. So there you have it. All of these substitutes, except the vinegar, did really work, and yes, they will save you so much money based on the cost of eggs. This is great to know, and I am thrilled to find that these work. I hope this was helpful to you too, and if you know others who are struggling with the price of eggs, be sure you share this video with them or share what you learned so that they can save money on eggs too. Let me know in the comments, what do you like to use as an egg substitute? Have you tried any of these before, or will you be trying them now? And are there different substitutes that you use? Do you use different things based on what you're baking? Because that would be the next question I have, and I have to figure out too. Thanks so much for joining me today as we baked through all these things. And again, I'm ready to keep baking now that I know how I can save money on eggs. If you want to see how I am saving money on the rest of my groceries, why don't you go ahead and check out one of these hauls next, and you can see some of the deals that I am finding. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.